A week ago, right at this moment, Tony Basilio was on fire with great info on a variety of fronts. He joins us by phone from up in the Knoxville area. Tony, how are you?
Well, I guess this week I'm back to my usual mediocre self.
Oh, no. That is never the case. By the way, congratulations to Kelly on his hat. Kelly, things look much better.
George, worry about your comb over. Don't worry. George, worry about your comb over. Don't worry about my hat.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay,
wow.
fine.
It's personal in here.
There we go. So a week ago, you were all over the Buie Carter story with the mom and the whole 9 yards. Has anything happened since then?
No, it's like kind of calmed down, and Heupel was talking about it today, and because he had a media opportunity. But the thing about Buie Carter is, it's interesting, as camp's gone along, he's not really been acclimated in camp things. Like he was asked today about him participating in the Syracuse game, which is a week and a half away. And essentially, Josh Heupel was kind of like, well, I guess we'll wait and see, basically. Like these coaches today, and he's chief among them, have perfected the way to answer a question without answering a question.
He doesn't give you anything.
I'm talking like nothing.
I mean, I don't even know why media members go to his press conferences.
Well, if you were a coach, wouldn't you do it the same way?
But give them something. I mean, give the fans something. It's not for the media. It's, talk to your fans.
They're a conduit to the fans.
Yes.
Thank you, Billy.
It's a funny thing with Heupel, though, because I just think he just wants to coach football, draw plays up, coach football, and he's pretty darn good at it, really.
So, Tony, it appears that Danny White's been busy in the last 24, 36 hours with the stuff that has gone out to season ticket holders. It feels like something you can get away with when your team goes 9-3, 10-2, 11-1. But boy, that puts a lot of pressure on Heupel.
The whole thing's so pressure-packed, George. And the relationship between the fan at the SEC level and these schools has never been more transactional than it is right now. You've got people locally. There's a story of a man that's 85 years old. He's had tickets since the late 60s in basketball. And they basically took his tickets from him this year. And unless he made a big contribution for where he was sitting. And they wouldn't even give this guy a, some sort of dispensation or special, whatever you want to call it, blessing or whatever.
Grandfather,
whatever. It's the era. It is the era we're living in. I think what's interesting is that you would do that a week and a half before a season starts. And I don't know what that says. Does that say that you're highly confident in what's going to happen this season, or you're highly unconfident in what's going to happen this year? I don't quite understand or know how to read what it means that Josh Heupel has done this, or that Danny White and his lieutenants, as he likes to call them, we pretend like we're in the military, as they've done that. It's rather odd.
So in Danny's case, he's got some really good coaches who have performed at a really high level. Heupel gets them to a college football playoff. Rick Barnes, very deep into the NCAA. Vitello with a championship on the national level. But, that all goes great when you're winning. But what happens when you have a little skid?
Yeah, and we know that all these sports are cyclical. Like, you're not going to stay there forever. Whether you're bad or whether you're good, chances are your fortunes are going to change. And I don't know. I don't know how Danny White, who's been nothing but praise since he got here, I don't know how he handles a 7-5 season, because people are starting to, as he tweets things out online, like he was trying to tweet out a clarification last night about this deal. And he said, look, the 4% increase is not, I want everybody to understand, this is not a concrete thing. We are still going to implement what they're calling the NIL tax, or the player tax. It's just what they ask of fans in the modern era with all these sports and with all these teams. It never ends, George. It is a one-way street. It's remarkable to me to watch this.
Yeah, because it's pretty ballsy is what it is. So let me ask this question, because you talk to a lot of people up in that area with your phone call segments and just in general what you do for a living. What is the reaction to this up there?
I mean, obviously people don't like it, but what these schools all know is that these people can't live without it. And so I've got so many people, George, that will call me and complain. And these are business owners in town, people that have lots of money, will complain about the way they're treated by the athletic department. And again, this goes on here, there, and everywhere across the SEC. And so I say to them, well, if that's the case, then why don't you just drop my tickets? No, I just want to complain about it. I'm not going to drop my tickets. Which I call stuff like that, George, I call those things first world problems. You're pretty upset at the way the athletic department treats you, yet you're going to jump right in there when it comes time to stroke the check. And that's how these athletic directors know that these people they're going to get in line when the time comes.
Right.
I don't know any other way than how to put it that way. And the strange thing is, you and I both have a professional sports sort of mind. We enjoy professional sports. This professional sports, for the most part, they don't treat their fans the way they do in college sports. In professional sports, it's, here's what you're paying. This is what you're paying for. We're only going to ask you for this one time. In college sports, they'll go back to these people, the top donors. They go back to them over and over and over and over, and it never ends. It never ends.
Yeah. So we're a week and a half away from Syracuse. Anything that either has you really optimistic or really pessimistic?
That's a great question. Tennessee has an excellent defense. I think they'll be fine in that game for that reason. That's where my optimism lies, on that side of the ball. On the offensive side of the ball, they've named Aguilar the starting quarterback. And again, I think George McIntyre had a terrific camp. The Merklinger guy has not to this point. The interesting thing would become, what would happen if Aguilar either faltered or if he got hurt? They would go next to Merklinger, but I don't know, based on the level that he played this summer in camp, how long he could hold that job. So Tennessee's hopes this year are really pinned on Joey Aguilar being able to play and stay available for this football team. That's of utmost importance.
So
Tennessee's,
as you know,
is going to be solid. Yeah.
As you know, the McIntyre family's got a lot of friends here. The young man's grandfather was Vanderbilt's football coach in the 80s. when I was their sideline announcer, and I thought the world of Coach Mack. And I've told the grandson a couple of really good stories about his grandfather. Where did he surprise them the most in the positive?
Well, he can spin the ball. And look, they know that, and I think he fits their offense. I was told that, one of the concerns is if he gets a chance to play and people see him, they're going to come after him. Because that's the way this era of college football is. Very few places, if you look around the SEC, show me places that have two really good quarterbacks or two choices. You've got your starter, and then you've got kind of a drop-off. And, it would create quite a dilemma for Tennessee if he was seen and he went out there as a true freshman and played well, because they have a five-star coming in Faison Brandon, who's top quarterback in the class next year. And, obviously they would want those two guys to battle it out for next season. And you want to stagger your quarterbacks like that. But staggering quarterbacks in this day and age is going to be more and more difficult because those guys just hit the road. It's hard to keep them on your roster.
Kelly, the floor is yours. Tony wants you to be focused and very attentive.
I thought you were going to keep going for the whole 30 minutes. I mean, you just kept asking question over and over and over again, George.
Were you bothered by that?
No, not really, but I mean,
Okay.
a little. I'll be honest.
Okay. Because
hey,
my reaction would be deal with it.
Yeah, and you don't care, which I understand that. You're the director. I get that. You're the one that holds the red pen. I understand that. So, Tony, were they decisive? Do you feel like Josh Heupel was decisive in that decision with Joey Aguilar? We all knew, and you even said it. I mean, we knew he was going to start. He's getting paid the money, but was there some apprehension in making that decision, or that's what it was all along?
No, I don't think so. I think that was the decision all along. Look, especially when you got to camp and the guy that you wanted to push Aguilar along just didn't have a good camp. Just to this point, just hasn't had a good camp. So
right.
That made the decision that much easier. We were talking amongst ourselves a couple weeks back, and I'm like, well, when do you name a starting quarterback? And people are like, well, you don't really need to till a Syracuse game. Heupel said today, he said, in my mind, he said, you always need to decide it by this week because now we're installing game stuff, and I got to get a guy uploaded. And then in this case, this guy has been here for so few days with us that we really have to get this guy uploaded and quickly. So it's even more paramount to getting him out there and acclimated quicker.
So how has he done in his practices? Because we've not really talked about that. Like you said a few times in the scrimmages, but because we've talked about how he likes to fit balls in, which is a confidence. I like that. You have to learn what you can do, but sometimes when you get in a game and you think that your arm just goes through everybody, it just doesn't. How have they worked on that with him, and how has he looked in practices from what all you've heard?
I hear he's been okay. I mean, not great, sort of okay. And the truth is, if they can get okay quarterback play out of him, they can have a nice football season. And if they don't, they could probably still have an okay record because the truth is on their schedule, unless offensively they go out and just have some horror show performances, they should be able to win 8 football games. The losable games are, when you look at the schedule, pretty obvious. Oklahoma here, Florida down there, Georgia here, and Alabama there. And so, at the end of all this, if the guy's a world beater and he goes out and can connect on some deep balls and really take to the offense, could the Vols win 10? Yeah, I guess. There's a scenario on the board where that could happen. Personally, I'm not counting on that. If the guy's an okay player, though, can manage the offense, can manage to, kind of keep games in front of him, play to an average level, Tennessee win 8 or 9 games this year.
So my last question here, because I know your son wants to ask some questions as well, so I'm going to get out of the way for him. But how has the wide receiver crew, like, it's amazing to me, like, you don't have the Willie Gaults, you don't have kind of the name guys that they used to have. And I know that Chris Brazil, I think he's a kid from Tulane. He came back, and I think that kind of helped the other day in the scrimmage a little bit. But, like, what are you seeing for them this year? And do they have guys that can make plays like the Hendon Hookers to Jalen Hyatt and all that? Because that's kind of where we think of Josh Heupel's offense. And we had Watson Brown talking about how they run the ball, which they do. But, like, what do you think about this wide receiver core?
Strength of their pass catching is going to rely on their tight ends this year. I don't know what they're going to get from their wide receivers. I don't know that they know what they're going to get from their wide receivers. They have not been available in camp. Brazel, who you mentioned from Tulane, goes kind of in and out, up and down, depending on the game. It just doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I could ask George this. George, do you know anybody that struggles to stay engaged sometimes? Because that's kind of how that Brazel guy is. He kind of struggles to stay engaged at times. But when he's engaged, he can be very engaged and be very good. But when he's unplugged, he can disappear on you. So I don't know that they know what they have with their wide receivers. I think it's a lot like that across college football right now with a lot of these teams. We just don't know. But at Tennessee, with those guys, as much camp as they've missed, now they've gotten back recently, but with as much camp as they've missed, it just sort of adds to the mystery of what we're going to see.
A little bit like Kelly. We just don't know what we're getting show in, show out.
True. Keep you on your toes. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, he's a box of chocolates, all right.
Tony, I'm interested in how much did Tennessee fans watch Nico this year? They'll be playing at the same time as Tennessee and Syracuse, or Tennessee Syracuse on that Saturday, right? Yeah. So UCLA Utah at 11 a.m. on Fox, Tennessee Syracuse 11 a.m. on ESPN. Am I correct in that?
No. What are you going to play? 8
right
in the morning in Utah?
Yeah.
Hold on.
Oh, PM. My bad. That's on me.
Oh.
We know it's on you, Billy.
Billy, you do make a great point, though, because if I were an advertiser here or was recommending something, I would buy as many adjacencies to UCLA football, at least early in the year, as I could, because they're going to do huge numbers here. There is going to be a lot, and I mean a lot, of hate watching going on here. And I was talking with a buddy of mine who did a deep dive into UCLA last night, and he was sharing some notes with me. They had a horrendous defense last year, okay? A year where it kind of cratered on them. They lost their top 11 tacklers from their horrendous defense. I mean, they're breaking in a new offensive line. The Utah game you mentioned opened as a pick'em. The public almost immediately bet that thing up. It's Utah -7 now.
Yep.
I mean,
wow.
That's going to be that UCLA deal this year is going to be quite a sight to see. And, Nico, here's the other thing. They're opening with one of the better defenses in that league. That Utah bunch means business.
Yes.
Annually. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of hate watching on Saturday night.
Yeah. One more. Steve Angeli was named the Syracuse's starter, and I think we all knew that was going to happen, or at least assumed that was going to happen. Who would have thought that Joey Aguilar would be starting for Tennessee and Steve Angeli would be starting for Syracuse? Two guys that transferred in. Angeli, Notre Dame's backup. We know where Aguilar came from. Does that not define today's age in college football perfectly?
Guys have been on their campus for like a combined, I think I put up my blog there, like 215 days combined on their respective campuses. And the point total in that game is somewhere between 50 and 55, depending on where you're looking. how in the world are those two teams going to get to 50 points? I mean, maybe Tennessee can bomb them out, or maybe these quarterbacks. The thing we don't know is how fast are these teams going to play? For those that like to play the ponies for entertainment purposes only, how fast will these two teams try and play? And if they do go fast and they're successful, maybe they score a bunch of points. But, geez, I wouldn't bet on that for either side. But from following Notre Dame, the Angeli guy is kind of a statue, but he can throw the ball a little bit. He's not a bad quarterback.
Yeah, he stepped in that Penn State game late in the first half and led a touchdown drive.
He might have to learn how to get out of that pocket with this bunch.
Yeah.
Oh, no question. He'll be running for his life in that Tennessee game. Yeah.
So you're done?
I am.
Billy? Okay. So, Tony, there's a person or two out there in the Middle Tennessee area saying to themselves, man, that Basilio is one interesting listen. How do I hear him? They want to know.
I'm generally not this interesting, but, and I'm not sure I was interesting today. tclub.team is how you find me. Again, tclub.team. Love to have you. We're on after each and every Tennessee football game as well. Basketball right around the corner. It's going to be a really fun, entertaining, engaging college football season.
Kind of like Kelly.
I'll tell you what, Kelly's in the game today, man. He's in it to win it.
Engaged.
You're so full of it, Tony. You really are. You truly are. You're a Philadelphian for sure.
I resemble that remark, and thank you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you for doing this. We'll talk again next Tuesday.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.